Messaging is a very important part of Chrome extensions that can cause a lot of confusions. However, it's so much easier than it seems if you know what you're doing. I will try my best to explain it to you in simple terms. You can think of it as the central nervous system that connects the various parts of your code, the background script, the pop-up, or the content scripts. The basics are super simple. You can send a message from any component, and you can listen to a message from any other component. Now, a message can contain any valid JSON object, such as strings, numbers, booleans, arrays, or objects that can be represented in a string. This is very useful, so you can come up with ways how you can differentiate between the various messages. To get started, I will create a helper method that sends a message when a note is updated. I head over to my utils folder and create a new file. Send note update message. In this file, I will use a lot of redundant code. Sorry for that, it's only for demonstration purposes. Send note update message. This must be an asynchronous function, and I will use one parameter, which will be the tab ID. And basically I will copy a lot of things from the change icon function. So what I have now is the node data that belongs to the given tab ID, and I can send a message by using the sendMessage method. I want to send it to a specific tab, so I use browser.tabs.sendMessage. I need to pass the tab ID, which I know, and then I need to pass the message, which I don't have yet, so I will create now. In my current extension, I'm only sending one type of message, but you can easily imagine situations when you would have various messages sent across the system. So as a rule of thumb, I always have an attribute called type, which is not updated. I also pass one pageKey, which is the URL of the page, and finally I pass the node data. I'm still having this node storage issue, so let's just import the missing imports. Node storage from types, and also the get pageKey. I don't know why it's not complaining, but it's definitely not imported. So I have it now here. This method is an asynchronous method, so I should wait for it. And finally, export send node update message. When should I invoke this method? Well, many places, but let's start with the pop-up. When the user typed something, I will just invoke it after the change icon. Send node update message. Look, it can auto import the file, and it needs the tab ID. Now I head over to my content script and set up some listeners. I can do it by writing browser.runtime.onMessage.addListener, and it receives a function with the message. So let me just log this message. Okay, let's see. If I open the console log, I can see that indeed my message arrived 5 times because I was typing 5 characters, which has the type not updated, the pageKey, which is wikipedia.org, and the data of the note. So far so good. Now I want to show or hide the ribbon whether the message contains a note or not. So I will wrap these lines into a new function called showRibbon. And just in case the ribbon would be already added to the page, which shouldn't be the case, but I am returning just to be on the safe side. So if this element exists, return. Otherwise, create the element and append it to the DOM. Now similarly, I can create another method called hideRibbon, which will simply check if the element exists and removes it. Notice how my text editor automatically added this question mark because we cannot be sure that this element exists. And the last thing left to do is to update our listener and check if the message contains a note or not. First, I want to check the message type and whether the URL matches the page key that we sent. If the message.message type doesn't equal note updated, then we return. If the message.pageKey doesn't equal to pageKey, which we don't have yet, then we also return. To get the pageKey, I can use regular JavaScript in this file because this is injected into the underlying website. So pageKey equals get pageKey, and the URL parameter will be window.location.href. And I think I need to import the get page key. Okay, so we have these two conditions. If the message is not note updated, then we don't do nothing. If the message's page key doesn't equal to our current page's page key, then we also don't do nothing. We can actually just combine these two. If any of these two happen, then return. So here we can be sure that we do have the message and it belongs to the right page. So we only need to see whether it has a note or not. If message.node data, then showRibbon. And if the message doesn't have a node data, then hideRibbon. Let's restart our dev script and open Wikipedia. That's always a very good place to test our extension. It's not showing up. Let's see what's happening. I can see that the message type is not updated and the page key is www.wikipedia.org. No, that is correct too. And it does have no data. So message type is not updated and message page key should equal our page key. And after looking at my code for a good 10 minutes, I finally realized that I only call it type, not message type. So this should work now. Indeed, now we have a node. And if I clean it, the node disappears. Okay, you guys can see that sometimes when you look at your own code for too long, you don't notice the most obvious errors. Okay, we can show or hide the ribbon based on the content of the node when the user types in the pop-up. The only thing left to do is to use the send note update message from the other locations as well in the background script. So I go over here, and then every place where I have change icon, I will just use the send note update message, where the parameter will be again the tab ID. So I can just copy it from the previous line. And here, and finally, I guess I need to import it. The extension crashed, so it's a perfect time to restart the dev script. amazing note on Wikipedia. And then if I come to this other page, another on Wikiversity, and let's just try it. I go back to Wikipedia and I have it there. So in this lesson I explained to you how you can send a message from the background script or from a pop-up to specific tabs, but maybe you want to send a message from the content script to the pop-up or to the background script. It's almost identical, but instead of browser.tabs.sendMessage, you will say browser.runtime.sendMessage, because your target is not a specific tab, but rather your Chrome extension. And it doesn't matter if you're targeting the pop-up or the background script, browser.runtime will send the message to both of them. And another thing to point out is that the onMessage.addListener actually receives 3 parameters. Besides the message, it receives information about the sender as the second parameter, and the third one is a callback function called sendResponse, which you can use to immediately send back some information to the script that sent you the message originally. But these are more advanced topics, so we're not worrying about them right now. Before we move on to add some final touches to our extension, I just want to remind you about our website, webextensiontutorial.com, where you can download the source files or learn more about extensions.